Hey, everybody, and welcome to our second episode of the Love and Lead podcast. Where men learn to love and lead like Jesus. Last week, we had our first episode. We talked about what it means to love and lead like Jesus. And today we're asking a natural follow-up question. What does it look like in real life, in our work, in our influence, on our day-to-day grind? And today, I'm joined by Charles Pat. I'm a basketball coach, a trainer, a co-owner of Double Trouble Training, and someone who lives by the motto, S to who. We're going to talk about faith, work, discipline, and what it means to steward influence as a follower of Jesus. Welcome to the podcast, Charles Pat. What's up,
Appreciate
Charles?
you, Ryan. Appreciate
Oh
you
yeah,
having me.
man. Thank
Super
you so
excited.
much, man. I know you're a busy man, and I was telling my wife just the other day how we came about meeting you and your brother. It's been almost like I don't almost 8 years, I
Yeah.
think. My son, we were living in St. Louis, and I guess you were doing a good enough job getting your stuff out on social media or online. And somehow my wife came across it, and we came to a training probably back, like I said, when my son was in eighth grade. You guys did an excellent job then, and really, your brother Mike
Yeah.
was really pivotal as we were transitioning from St. Louis. We were looking for well, we decided to come to Atlanta, but I think talking to Mike about schools and opportunities, it made it even an easier transition. And he did a lot actually in helping us transition. And then when we got here, you started getting your hand on my son and training him. So first thing I want to say is they do an excellent job training at Double Trouble Training. I'm do a little commercial for them. So if you need training, definitely look them up. Double Trouble Training. I know you train hundreds of kids, NBA athletes, NCAA athletes, and then I'm gonna let them tell their story because I'm probably stealing some of that, but that's kind of how I came to know you. So with that being said, tell me a little bit about your background. I say let's go all the way back to, I mean, you're a twin, but let's go all the way back to your kind of childhood. Like, how did you get to becoming a coach and a trainer?
No, for sure. So I have a twin brother, Michael Pat.
Mhm.
We played basketball our whole life, so we always naturally became competitive with each other. And then I guess to kind of fast forward, we played in high school, played in college. I ended up hurting my knee and blew my knee out, so it got me right into training. Which Michael was my first probably client. Like he was still playing in college when I was hurt, so I started training him. And then a few years later, he hurt his knee and blew his knee out too.
Oh, wow.
Which is one thing that's crazy about twins. Usually whatever happens to one of us, it happens to the other one,
Oh,
one way or another. Like I may get scratched in my face and like 4 weeks later he get the same
are you
identical scratch.
serious? Wow.
So when I got hurt, I knew at some point, not saying I wanted it to happen, but I kind of already knew it was gonna happen. And then about a year and a half later, it happened.
Wow. Did he already know?
He didn't know, but even when we were in college, some kid kind of came up to him and said like, "Yo, God said basketball you playing is gonna be wrapped up soon because he got something that was greater for you."
Oh, wow.
And kid name is Caleb, which he lived in Georgia. He ended up moving out to Washington State, but he gave that message. And Mike was like, "Playing, y'all just had 30 last night. Like,
Right.
I'm about to hoop for me." But then it happened over time. Then after that, I started coaching, coached in Memphis, found my way to Norcross. Michael kind of did the same shortly after, just got into coaching
So you from Georgia?
from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh,
So we
wow.
from the Midwest, like a basketball city. Well,
Yeah.
we moved all over. Like we lived in Wisconsin. When I moved to Washington State, I learned so much about basketball, just the craft. So I mean, been around a lot of people.
Yeah. So did you guys, when you came up, is it just you and Mike, or do you have other siblings?
So I have an older brother and sister, which they live in Indianapolis, and I probably got some other brothers and sisters I don't know about.
Right, right,
We
right.
probably,
Right, yeah. I mean, I know how that go. I had a brother, God rest his soul, but yeah, I found that out too. But yeah.
yeah.
So were you raised with just your mom or your mom and your dad?
So growing up, I stayed with my mom probably the first 6 or 7 years of my life.
Mhm.
Then my dad won custody from age 7 to about 12 or 13. And then it was at a point I was with my dad's like, bro, I miss my mom and I was tired. So my brother and I, we ran away and
Mhm.
she lived in Washington State. So we literally hopped out my grandmother's window. Somehow we got some flights, got on the flight and flew to Washington. And then ever since then we was living with my mom. But it was like, I was so happy at that moment. That was like one of the best moments of my life.
Yeah, you
Like,
said you was
bro.
ready to go. You was ready
Yeah,
to get back to
absolutely. Yeah. Like, I love my dad, learned from him, whatever,
school.
but my mom was just like my mom.
Yeah,
And we was taken from her. So that opportunity, like those 6, 7 years, I was like, man, praying every day. Like, man, I want to get back to my mom.
yeah.
She was always be like, it's gonna happen. God got his time. And then it get to year 2. I'm like, when? Year 3, when is it gonna happen? Year 4. She just keep going. God gonna bless us. And then it
Mhm.
came, opportunity happened. And then it was just, we was able to
Yeah.
get back with her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I know you guys have the motto "blessed to hoop." So tell me all about like where did that come from? Who came up with that, and what does that really mean to you?
Yeah, so Bust the Hoop, I think Michael and I both kinda came up with it, put it together. But overall, we just grateful for the opportunity to stay around the game of basketball. Like we truly love the game, and then just how we can use the game to help other people learn about God, learn about like habits, earning a scholarship that in relationships that they can create down the line, whatever. So when we say blessed, I just feel like we truly blessed because I worked a lot of other jobs. Sometimes early when we started Double Trouble, trying to build this business and just doing other stuff, working at like FedEx or UPS or any Publix, Kroger, I literally dreaded going in there. I had to do it because I was trying to like, of course, make money and try to build this business, but I hated it. But doing this every single day, I love it. So that's why I consider myself blessed. I love the kids I get to work with, from the NBA players to the fourth graders. I love the parents I get to interact with for
Yeah,
sure, coaches and just relationships.
yeah,
Like it'd be somebody, I can talk to today. I probably won't talk to them in like 10 or 15 years,
right.
but we just have a relationship. Or basketball is a small world.
It
So
is.
wherever somebody talk to one person, oh, I know that person, then we just connected. But everything, like I'm truly grateful. Like I'm truly grateful. I tell God thank you every day.
Yeah. Just a little bit about. I mean, I know you say bless the hoop, and you're mentioning kind of your relationship with God. So when did you come to a point where you decided you wanted to have a relationship with God?
I mean, I was my mom instilled in us like early on how to pray, get on our knees and pray. Being patient in prayer too. Because sometimes
Mm,
as a young kid, we'll try to pray for like a minute and try to
mm,
leave. But she's like, yo, you just gotta hear from God. So she instilled that, and it kind of probably carried me throughout my whole life. Like
mm.
honestly. Anytime I get too far away from God, I just know like I gotta talk to God, spend time with God.
Yeah.
Like faith is everything.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah, thank you. I actually, didn't know your whole background, so it's awesome to kind of hear your story and your path. So you get injured, you start training. You were in Washington, and somehow you end up in Norcross, being from Washington. That's a far trip from Washington. You're talking about
Mhm.
Washington State.
Yeah.
So how did you end up in Norcross?
So like one day, this all probably all gonna make sense towards the end because I know
Okay.
God allowed everything to happen for a reason.
Yeah.
But somehow my mom, her job was in Washington State, and then they only had an opening here because she wanted to go back home to Indianapolis.
Mhm.
So in high school, I kind of moved down here because Georgia was the closest thing. And then I ended up losing. We on the wall somewhere around here, but we ended up losing to Norcross in like a Final Four game. It's actually right there, that
Oh,
picture,
yeah.
which I'd be mad about. But and then ironically, I'm coaching here like a couple years later
Oh,
for
wow.
the coach that beat us.
What school were you at then?
I went to Centennial High School, which
Oh,
at
yeah.
that time it was really good. We had like 7, 8 Division One players. Coach Whiteheart was my
Yeah.
coach from
Mhm.
Milton. And then somehow I don't know, just stay connected. But God just let us brought us back here.
Yeah.
And when I was coaching in Memphis, I was like, man, when I moved back, I was like, I want to coach in the best high school in the state. And I was looking up all the records who had probably just
Mm,
recently won,
mhm.
and I seen Norcross.
Yeah.
So I hit up Coach Mack like, yo,
Yeah.
coming back when we get a job, whatever. And we just connected from there. So
Wow. Yeah. Hey, that's awesome, man. That's
yeah.
awesome. So, what disciplines help you stay grounded, kinda as your platform has grown? Like, what do you do to stay grounded? I know, I mean, your business, from what I see, has become very successful. What kinda keeps you grounded?
I don't know. I find the same enjoyment and excitement every workout. Like, I don't know, like I'm blessed to do this because some people can get a burnout, but I feel like I don't know, God renew my energy every workout. I don't
Mhm.
know, I feel the same about it. Then I have my twin brother, so we always pushing each other, throwing each other ideas, and we're competitive. Like, he may have a player that he's taking on to develop. Like, we got Dylan and Donovan twins
Mm.
right now. He trains Donovan, I train Dylan. So I'm like, all right, Dylan gonna be ranked a little bit higher.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
just always competing in a way,
yeah.
but I'm always like, I'm probably more competitive than Mike a little bit, but I'm making sure like, yo, I'm competing.
Right,
We
yeah.
just always push each other.
Yeah, no, I can see that. So when I think about you guys training and I see all the kids in the gym and stuff like that, and I've been around a lot of trainers in my time. I mean, I've coached basketball too. I've been around trainers, and sometimes those environments can get a little, they can get a little, I could say, tricky or sticky for the young people that are being coached. Like, they're being talked down to, they're kind of being kind of demeaned,
For
and some
sure.
coaches really like they think they have to do that, like,
Yeah.
to get the best out of a player. But something that I've witnessed since, the years of coming here, that's not something that I see you or Mike do. Is that purposeful? Like, how do you, train and push kids without demoralizing them
For
and,
sure.
cursing them out and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I think probably when I was, earlier into this, sometimes I would have more of those moments, but
Mm,
right now, I would definitely try to challenge myself to, like, if I'm a good trainer, I need to be able to, like, train without doing that. So we definitely try not to curse at players. We figure out and every kid is different.
mhm,
Figure out how to challenge them and push them to get good without cursing them out. Like,
mhm.
I don't know, it's just something we definitely pride and we just trying to help kids build confidence, whatever. So whatever they can do, we try to
Yeah.
tell them, "Good job, do better." If they
Mhm.
doing something good, "Good job, make this better, do it faster." And it's a couple kids getting on our skin where I
Yeah.
gotta go home and repent. I mean, I try to,
No doubt.
I try to be
So how do you, witness, your relationship with God that you mentioned? How can you witness to the players that come in without like preaching and, but still, letting it be known that, you got faith in God and that, all that you have is because of God. Like, how do you find a way to still witness?
I mean, I think Michael and I do a good job building relationships just naturally where players trust us and we have a good rapport. And then, I mean, sometimes after workouts, we're like, good job. Make sure y'all go home to pray make sure y'all go home and forget to pray tonight. Or just some players, maybe they're seniors, they're graduating, they may have no offers. And they're like, I really want to play college. They don't work their whole life for it. And then that becomes a faith battle.
Mm-hmm.
You got to trust what you have done and just know God's going to open up something. Or some people deal with stuff at home that you have no idea about. But
No.
sometimes they may share. It's like, man, you got to go home and pray. You got to trust God. He going whatever. So however, I mean, happens, and definitely delivering the scripture at times. Like whether I know something off the top of my head, but if not, I easily go home and look up something and send it to him
Mm-hmm.
later. So
Yeah.
it's just having a good rapport with them and telling them at the end of the day, this life go end.
Yeah.
So when this life end, yo, we gonna have to answer to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may say no, and some people may believe it's somebody, but just in case it is, like let's just prepare for that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Nah, that's good, man. And
daily,
and this whole episode is really about using work as ministry. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you go to work, don't just think about it as like you said, if you work at Lowe's, like you just, stocking shelves, like wherever you work, it's an opportunity for you to be a witness. And I just want to commend you because I mean I've been in the gym, hours and hours, and I see the way you interact with young men. Like you said, you're encouraging them. And I think you're not going to be able to be a witness if you're interacting with people and demeaning them. They're
oh
not going
yeah,
to
for sure,
receive that stuff from you.
for
So
sure,
I know a lot of times I hear the music that's being played. I'm not saying it's all the time. I'm not against listening to, hip hop or anything like that, but sometimes you guys are purposeful and even the music sometimes that you play. And, kids are hearing that
for
stuff. That
sure.
stuff, just like, when you're listening to whomever that those words are, they're sinking in.
Yeah,
And I
for
think,
sure,
you guys being purposeful and doing that, it goes right along with this episode. We talk about work as ministry. Don't look at work as just place you go to get a check. You
for
know what I
sure,
mean? And I could see you guys doing. Just wanted to commend you that atmosphere that you guys set. Whenever I've brought my son to training, is something that is really it lets you want to come back.
yeah.
It keeps you wanting to come back. So how has your faith shaped the way you lead, the way you correct, and the way you encourage?
I'll say my faith guides me. I just try to like follow Jesus, look at stuff in the Bible, and just look up a lot of great people that were in the Bible that God used and see how they kind of led. Like when it comes to leadership, you have to lead by example, which I believe, and then lead, with communication, and then you have to be patient. When you're a leader, you gotta be patient. So I just try to be patient with people now that I'm older, more mature, and just look at long term. And I don't know. I just trust God. Sometimes God just help me with this, and I just know how to interact with it. But just
Yeah.
being patient overall.
Yeah, I think, when I listen to you, you're really communicating that you have a relationship with God, like your own personal relationship. And that's something that, me, in my younger years, I just had a religious perspective on God. Like you go to church, you check the block, you know what I mean? You pay a tithe, you check the block, but it wasn't a relationship. God, more than any of those things, like going to church, paying the tithes. Like he wants to have a relationship
For
because he
sure,
can't change us without us having a relationship. And I just keep hearing you go back to saying you go talk to him. And it's not just you're not just saying you talk to. You got to be patient to hear from him,
for sure,
and then you move from there. I think all of those are critical things that you're sharing. That's are components of any relationship. You
for
got to communicate. You got to listen. You know what I mean? And I
sure.
just hear you're saying that. So, what would it look like for more coaches and trainers and leaders to see their work as that will look like to you?
What do you mean exactly?
Like what? the way you look at your business, your platform as a way that you can possibly disciple somebody to look at you, what do you think it'll look like for more coaches, more trainers to do that?
I mean, I feel like it depends on like what's their passion or calling in a sense.
Mm,
Like honestly, I mean, I feel like God has gifted me in this for sure. Like I feel like He's given me the ability to help develop talent, to nurture talent, not only on the court but off the court, and I love it. So it's just, I mean, if more coaches were, if they had that passion and push behind them, I mean, it'd be Georgia would be crazy. It'd be a number one. Like if it was just talent in Georgia, we have even more number one picks.
yeah.
So much talent, but
Yeah. I mean, because these days, I mean, training, man, it's become a real big business. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And a lot of people, want to do it sometimes to make the money, and sometimes it's not really about the development of the kid. It could
yeah,
be about development of kids they like, but that's something that I hear you saying. From a fourth grader, to college player, the NBA players, like you pouring into them individually about what they need. So
definitely.
I just think that's something that's very important, and that's part of the reason why you guys are so successful,
Yeah.
in your business. Because when somebody brings in a youngster to train, you putting that same energy, and they stay and they watch and they see the next
Yeah,
group, and you put the same energy that you're putting in
for
us.
sure.
So I think that goes a long way. Yeah. So so far you've just shared kind of some of the things you do to kind of separate you from other trainers. I'll just ask you this time: what are some of the challenges that you've had as a young man, as an entrepreneur, not just in the gym, not just as being an entrepreneur business person, but just as a man? What are some of the challenges that come along with this?
So as a man, I would say, much is required, much is given, or much is given, much is required. You got to hold yourself accountable. You got to be focused. Got to be disciplined. It's gonna come with a lot of distractions always from females. It's a lot of females, and I always got to pray. My brother's married. I'm not married, but I'm staying patient. But just saying like, who's the right woman for me? So just really figuring out that friends and associates, like, who I decide to hang out with, just on my off time. Like, is this person good for me? Do they got good energy? What's their spiritual life like? Not saying I'm judging anybody,
Hmm.
but I don't want people that's like, in a sense, unequally yoked, because I'm just trying to like, I'm trying to stay focused on my path. So just that, and just continue to make good decisions. Like, of course, there's always a lot of stuff that can come your way and can make wrong decisions, and sometimes that stuff is gonna happen. But then you just gotta learn from it and be like, I could make a better decision here, and just try to, be smart on that. And then as far as an entrepreneur, especially when you early in the entrepreneur stage, you gotta believe in yourself, because it's gonna be, a lot of people gonna tell you no, a lot of people gonna tell you no. Or I mean, you go up to somebody, yo, what you think about my idea? And I don't think it's a good idea. Which they could think it's a great idea and steal it, or they could tell you it's not a good idea, or they could just say no and don't want you to be successful. But at the end of the day, and you can ask for people and look for, advice and stuff, but you just gotta believe in your journey. And that's something I just feel like right, wrong, and different. Michael and I, we gonna figure it out, and we believe in what we're doing. So wholeheartedly, like stuff definitely get challenging, get hard. Sometimes trying to find gym space, whatever it may be. When we first started training, we had free gym sessions and training clinics for like 2 months. We had one kid come in, and
Hmm.
Michael was playing 1-on-1 for 2 months.
Wow.
But you just gotta like,
Yeah.
you gotta stay faithful and just know God gonna do it. So I think just faith, but it's always gonna be challenges. You gotta believe in yourself, but also with that it comes like work ethic. You can't say I believe in myself and sit on the couch. Now you gotta say you believe in yourself and put your feet to the fire and figure out how to grind and make it happen. And that's something I believe in college. That's what college taught me, is how to teach yourself and make stuff happen. So that's all. I don't know. Just working
Yeah.
hard.
No, yeah, I think those challenges are ones that are common to a lot of us as men. And you said something that's very poignant is you got to choose who you're going to have give access to your life. I mean,
Mhm.
that's one thing about it. Like, no matter what, like they're going to rub off on you, good, bad, or indifferent, and vice versa with who you with. So I think, being particular about that is very critical. And and then you also, was just saying belief in yourself. Like when you have a dream and a purpose, you can hear 1,000 no's, but if God already done told you this is what your purpose is, like you said, you're gonna stay rooted in it. Whether
Telling you,
you get, 100 no's, you just only need one yes.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
And
that's
even
all.
sometimes when you get too far away from like whatever God got from you, you gonna know, because something bad gonna happen over there. You
Mhm.
gonna realize like it was good over here. God had this for me, and I started hanging out. Like, why is all this stuff happening?
Mm,
You gonna it's gonna be clear. It's
yeah.
gonna be clear.
Yeah, each week on the Love and Lead podcast, we like to leave men with some type of practical step or things that they can do in growing their relationship with God. And today episode is all about seeing work as ministry, seeing work as a place where you can, possibly, disciple other people. So our weekly practice this week is work as worship. Work as worship means that a man understands his everyday work, whether coaching, training athletes, running a business, working a job, as a way to honor God and to participate in his mission, not merely a way to earn money or gain success. Instead of separating your church life from your work life, a disciple of Jesus sees work as a place where discipleship is lived out daily. So this kind of is rooted in a scripture I just want to mention, and you guys can, look this up later. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters." So this week, I really want to challenge us to every day start your day with this prayer: Lord, help me to love and lead like you in my work today. And during the week, I want you to look for an opportunity to serve someone through your work. It could be helping a coworker, it can be mentoring someone younger, or just encouraging someone. And then I want you to practice excellence. What I'm saying there is no matter who's around, like who sees you, I want you to do your job to excellence no matter who's there. That's having integrity. All right. And lastly, at the end of each day this week, and once you get back home and things are settled down, want you to ask yourself, did my work reflect Jesus today? And where do I need to grow? Charles, thank you again for showing us. I want sharing your story, and just by talking about your story, showing us that faith doesn't stop at a church door. Like just because you don't go to church or you do go to church, it doesn't stop there. It shows up in your work. It shows up in your discipline. It shows up in your influence, and that's something that you mentioned as you talked about your kind of your purpose. And I just want to finish up with this. What would you tell a man or a young man who's struggling with finding their purpose?
And the biggest thing on a journey, just any journey, you always got to keep moving. So try not to go back, try not to be stagnant, but find a way to just continue to move forward. And on that journey, gotta get your ram in the bush. Like something to appear, something to show, something to happen out of nowhere. And when you get those signs, you realize you're on the right path. But the biggest thing, you can't stop. And this one player, Dylan Carwell, which he's had an extreme journey. I met him. He was from Augusta, Georgia. He used to drive up 2 hours every Sunday, stay in the gym 3 or 4 hours, and drive back. And then, he ended up going to Oak Hill. He moved back to the state, became ineligible. He went to Auburn, probably didn't play his first 3 years. He just graduated last year. And then, of course, he went undrafted, but he was a great super teammate, super individual. He was always just trying to figure out his journey and path, but he's always had some sort of faith. But he went with Bruce Pearl, Auburn, they always talked about faith and they, believe in God. And dealing with his faith, he's always had extreme energy. When he's at McEachern, couldn't play his senior year. He's celebrating his teammates, whatever. He's still trying to figure out his route. At Auburn, he get praised for being the ultimate teammate, running the floor, picking people up, the fans just getting them going. And then somehow he didn't know he was like trajectory. He wasn't gonna make it to the NBA. But somehow he got undrafted, got with Sacramento. Now he's on a 3 year deal because of his faith, literally. Like he just kept moving. Him going there, coming up from Augusta, being ineligible, he could have stopped. And he always had a push because he wanted to help his mom and his brother. But one thing with Dylan, he's a great individual, like, super, like he's 6'10", just great individual. But he got on the team with Sacramento because his energy, his faith. I mean, everything he posts, like even when he has a good game, 10 rebounds, he's gonna say, "All glory to God, thank
Mm,
you, Jesus." And I really feel like that's the only reason why he made it. Like he's been around other people that was higher, but I just know his faith. He had moments, but he just steadily kept moving. So I know if you just continue to move, and maybe I was that ram in the bush, bro. One day you gonna make it. You gonna get your mama house. I mean, telling him this, hey, yo, and just maybe that was me at the moment. But he just kept moving, kept moving, kept moving, trusting God. God threw him small tokens. And the biggest thing to just anybody that's just lost on the journey and trying to figure out their purpose, just keep moving. And God will always provide an answer. Just
mm.
always.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it just sounds like you're saying with that young man's story and many other people's stories, and you said keep moving, but also while you're moving, look for places where you can serve where you are, serve the people you're around,
Yeah.
pour into other people, and when you do that, you'll look back and you'll see that God is, as you're, lifting other people up, God is lifting you up.
Exactly.
So
And
that's
that's
a
literally what happened with Dylan. Like he just like loved he could play 0 minutes. You would think he had like 40. He just so happy for everybody else. And in that moment, like I mean, say if his energy was different towards I'm not gonna, celebrate people have a bad attitude, he wouldn't be where he is.
yeah.
But because he just shows so much love and God say love people, Like, he just showed so much love. God literally, like, blessed him in unbelievable way.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, um, so to our listeners this week, practice seeing your work as worship. Ask God how He wants you to love and lead like Jesus right where you are. In this episode encourage you, share with the brother who's trying to honor God in His work. Until next time, love well, lead boldly, and walk with Jesus.